Guys, so today I wanted to do a review using the DivaDC gels that recently came out. I'm going to be using 3 of their gels, the first one being the sculpture gel in clear, and this is a UV gel, so this one needs to be cured in a UV lamp. The next color I'm going to be using is the Cover Pink, and this one is an LED or UV gel, so you can use it in either one of those lights. And then the other color I'm going to be using is just a white. So I've already started doing my nails, but I have my thumb left to do, but I thought just real quick I'd kind of run through what I'm going to be using in the video. So as my dehydrator, I'm going to be using ASP Prep and Clean. I'm also going to be using Something Wonderful Primer. And then I'm going to be using 90% alcohol, and then what I have is just a piece of paper here, and this is just a paper towel, and then I spray the alcohol on the paper towel, and then I use that in between when I switch colors. Off camera I'll be wiping off the brush in between each color change, just so you guys know. I'm also going to be using nail forms today. I'm going to be using this style here. These also come from DivaDC. I did a haul on these. If you guys are interested, I'll link that video down below. And I also have another video of the complete prep process for my nails, which will also be down below. So at this point my nail is already prepped and clean and ready to go. I'm going to take my form, and I'm just removing that middle piece there. I'm going to take the form and I'm just going to roll it to get the nice C curve. And then I like to pre-pinch mine, but you don't have to. And then I'm also going to rip this part right here. So I'm just going to start by placing that, and what I'm doing is I'm making sure that this center line is lined up with the middle of my nail, and then I'm also pushing the form as far that way as I can to make sure that it fits snug and that it's all the way under my nail. Once I'm happy with the positioning of that, I'm just going to go ahead and fold over the sides. Okay, so that nail's basically ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and add my dehydrator and primer at this point. And then primer. Again, making sure not to touch the skin at all. And you can do 2 caps of primer if you need to. I'm only doing 1. Also, I'll be using this brush. This came from DivaDC as well. And that's what the tip looks like. So I'm going to start out with the clear. I'm using an 18 watt UV lamp. I also have an LED, but I haven't tried these gels in LED yet. I'll do a separate video for that if you guys are interested. So this is what the gel looks like, and this is the clear. So for my nails, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building a base basically at this point, and I'm just going to bring it up to the second line here. And then I'm going to do a very thin cap over my nail plate as well. So I'm going to start by grabbing my gel. And I don't need a ton. So that's the size ball of gel I took. And I'm going to start by placing mine at the tip of the nail, because that's where I want the majority of my gel. And then once I place that, I'm going to start working it side to side and connecting it at this point here to my nail, making sure to reinforce that, because that's where you're going to get stress. And then I'm going to walk the gel down. You can either brush it down, or you can use the tip of your brush to actually just kind of push it down. And while I'm doing this, I'm making sure that my nail is actually pointing down slightly so that I don't get any gel running into my cuticle area or sidewalls. And at this point, it doesn't have to be really pretty. You're just more so building up your foundation. And I'm still keeping everything very thin so it'll cure evenly. Okay, so that's the first step. You can see the gel all the way there, side to side, and then covering that to the second line. and then all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that, and I'm going to do the full 120 seconds. So once that's cured, I'm going to go ahead and start using my Cover Pink to build my nail bed. I'm going to extend my nail bed to the first line here, and then I'm going to bring that down from the first line to my natural smile line, and that's going to be my smile line to keep it uniform. And you don't have to do that. You can follow your own natural smile line if you like. That's just how I'm choosing to do this set. Now you want to make sure while you're doing this, first, that your brush is clean so you're not transferring colors, and that you're not going to get anything into the sidewalls or the cuticle area. So I like to get some of my gel, and I'm going to be using a smaller amount than I did for the tip because we're just doing a small area on the nail. So that's what it looks like. And I'm going to start by placing that right in the center, right up to the line where I want to go. And then I'm going to slowly walk the gel from side to side to create that smile line, and then we can clean it up before we cure it. And then with my finger down, I'm going to start pushing back the gel to get it as close to the cuticle as I can and as close to the sidewalls without touching. And if you need to go back in and do 2 layers, you can. You don't have to do it all at once. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush off and just tidy up my smile line. And then before I put it in the light, I'm just going to take an orange wood stick and clean up anything around the sides that might have touched cuticle or sidewall. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that in the light for the full time. So at this point, once it's cured, you can go ahead and remove the nail form. So if you have any little bits of gel that are hanging out kind of jagged, you don't need to worry about it at this point. Later on, we're going to clean everything up. So with the white, you want to remember a couple things. One, that it's a very opaque color, and sometimes light can have a hard time penetrating it if you put it too thick, and you run the risk of it being gooey in the middle still. So what I like to do with white and any really opaque color, it's a good rule of thumb just to do it very thin, and you're only doing a small little area. So even this ball that I have on here is kind of too thick, so I'm going to wipe some of that off. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my white up a little bit past the actual nail bed that we made so that I have room to straighten out my smile line. And you can build this up different ways. I'm just going to go side to side. And remember, you can always go back and add a second layer if it's not opaque enough for you. Right now what we're concentrating on is the smile line itself. So you're going to go ahead and clean your brush with alcohol. Again, I have my little alcohol paper here, and I'm going to make sure that it's clean very well. And then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tidy up my smile line. Okay, once you're happy with your smile line, go ahead and pop it in the light, and then you can do a second coat of the white. Once you have the tip done and it's opaque enough for you, I did 2 layers on mine, you may get away with just 1. You're going to go ahead and take your clear again, and you're just going to go ahead and encapsulate the whole nail, making sure to get the proper shape. And if you need to, you can flip your nail over so that the self-leveling will create that nice dome shape. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to cure each layer for 120 seconds. So once that's cured for the final time, all you need to do is take your rubbing alcohol, spray the nail, use a cotton round, and remove the tacky layer. At this point you can file, shape, and buff, and I'll meet you guys right back to finish up the nail design. Alright guys, so I wanted to go ahead and wrap this video up and just kind of give you my impressions on the gel. Now mind you, this is the first time I've actually worked with the gel, so this is just my kind of first impression. So first thing I wanted to mention were these forms that I picked up, and they were about $5 for 500 of them. I was really impressed with these forms. I know that this video isn't about the forms, but they were really sticky and they really kept nicely, and they had a really good shape. So if you guys are interested in forms or looking to buy some, you might look into those ones. Now also, since I was using it in the video, this brush, I really like the shape of the brush and the size was good. It wasn't so soft that it wouldn't move the gel around, but then again it wasn't so stiff that it had no play to it. The one thing, at least with this particular brush, is that when you put it on here, it's really loose. You can still definitely use it. I used it through the whole video and it worked fine, but if you're not careful and you only grab it from this top portion, which most people don't hold their brush that way, you would hold it this way obviously, but it does come out and it can slide off. I just wanted to mention that. I mean, by no means was it a big deal, or did I feel that it inhibited what I was doing at all. I just thought I'd mention it in case you guys were looking to purchase it. Other than that, it was great. It worked fine. So now to get into the actual gel. So I used 3 of the gels. I did not use them in my LED lamp. DivaDC has actual recommendations for the wattage for the UV and also for the LED, and I'll put those on the screen there so you guys can see them. So their recommendation is a 36 watt UV lamp. I don't have a 36 watt, I have an 18. So just know that if you're using a smaller wattage, that you're going to need to add a little bit more time. So that's what I did. I just added a little bit more time. I made sure to cure it all the way through instead of doing flash cures and then curing at the end. So it did take me a little bit longer, but I had no problems with the way my nails came out. You know, the gel set fine. So as far as consistency goes, I really liked the consistency. It was not runny at all. You know, mind you that if you use the gel in a hotter climate, it's going to get runnier, and if you use it in a cooler climate, it's going to be a little bit thicker. That's the same with any gel that you're going to use. The consistency was good. As far as the self-leveling, it took a little bit longer than like IBD to self-level, but at the same time I kind of liked that because I didn't have to worry about it running into my sidewalls and cuticle as much. If you guys have worked with gel and you have a really runny gel, or one that self-levels too quickly and it, you know, kind of goes everywhere, that can be a double-edged sword. It's nice for quickness, for moving it around, but at the same time you have to be really quick when you're placing it and making sure that it's not running into your cuticles or sidewalls. And with this one, I didn't have that. I really liked the clear. It was very clear. I didn't get hardly any bubbles. You know, I felt like the nail did well. I know it's hard to see on camera, but there wasn't very many bubbles as long as I didn't pick up my brush in between placing it and moving it around, but that will create bubbles with any gel. So I felt like it performed really well in that aspect. It was very clear, cured well, no problems. The covered gel was very opaque, as well as the white. You know, so they covered very easily. I didn't have to use a big thick layer to get that nice dark white or that nice opaque cover pink color. So I really appreciate that. I think that does it for me. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability again.